The laughter that echoed across the Santa Monica Pier that day wasn't joyful, it was cruel. People walking by might have thought it was just kids playing, but if you stopped for a moment, you'd hear the sharp sting in their words. "Move, cripple," one boy sneered, shoving his shoulder against a fragile girl who sat on the edge of her wheelchair, clutching the handles for balance. A kick followed, jolting the chair forward on the wooden planks, nearly tipping her onto the ground. Strangers turned their heads but did not stop. Some looked away, too uncomfortable to intervene. And yet, that girl, her name was Emily, wasn't invisible. What none of those bullies knew was that destiny had already set something powerful in motion that would change not just her life, but the lives of everyone watching. Emily was only 15, with bright blue eyes that still carried hope despite everything she'd gone through. She had been born with a condition that weakened her legs, leaving her unable to walk since she was 8. But her spirit, her spirit was unbreakable. She loved the ocean, the way the waves stretched endlessly, reminding her that life was bigger than pain. That day, she had begged her mom to take her to Santa Monica Pier because she wanted to feel normal again, to hear the laughter of kids, smell the roasted peanuts, and watch the Ferris wheel glow as the sun went down. She hadn't expected cruelty to find her there. The group of bullies, 3 boys and a girl, circled around her like sharks smelling weakness. "Why do you even come here?" one boy mocked. "You can't even walk down the pier." Another pushed her chair slightly, just enough to make her gasp. The fourth kicked one of her crutches that lay on the side, sending it clattering across the boards. People still didn't stop. Parents tightened their grip on their children's hands and hurried by, afraid to get involved. For Emily, every second felt like forever. Her cheeks burned, tears welled in her eyes, and a deep ache clawed at her heart. But then something shifted. The sound of engines, deep, thunderous, rolling, cut through the air like a storm approaching. One bike, then 2, then 10, until a sea of chrome and leather filled the pier's parking lot. Heads turned as dozens of bikers, patched jackets gleaming in the sun, dismounted in unison. They weren't the villains of movies, these were men and women who carried stories, scars, and second chances. They had seen pain before, and when they spotted Emily, trembling in her chair surrounded by bullies, they knew exactly what they had to do. The leader, a tall man with a gray beard and tattoos down his arms, stepped forward. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. His voice was steady, calm, but full of weight. "Hey," he said, fixing his gaze on the kids, "you think you're strong? Try picking on someone who can fight back." The bullies froze, their bravado crumbling as the reality of who stood before them set in. Behind the leader, bikers lined up shoulder to shoulder, a wall of leather and steel, their presence louder than any words could ever be. Emily blinked through her tears, staring at them in awe. No one had ever defended her like this before. The boy who had kicked her crutch bent down and grabbed it quickly, holding it out with shaking hands. Sorry," he muttered. The bikers didn't move until the kids scattered, their laughter gone, replaced with silence and fear. One of the women bikers knelt beside Emily. She had long dark hair tucked under her helmet and eyes soft with kindness. "Hey sweetheart," she said, brushing a tear from Emily's cheek, "don't you worry. You're with us now." For the first time that day, Emily smiled, a real smile, the kind that glowed through the pain. She didn't know who these people were, but in that moment, she knew she wasn't alone. The bikers didn't just leave it there. They wheeled Emily through the pier, making space where there had been none, turning every head as families and strangers watched in silence. For once, Emily wasn't the crippled girl. She was the center of a story bigger than herself, one of strength, protection, and unexpected family. The Ferris wheel lit up in the twilight, and as the engines roared again, Emily whispered something to her mom. "I think the world just showed me it still cares." But this was only the beginning. The following week, Emily couldn't stop thinking about that night. The way the bikers had shielded her, the way their presence turned fear into safety, lingered in her mind like a spark she couldn't let go of. She asked her mom to take her back, but this time not just to watch the ocean. She wanted to see if the bikers would return. She didn't even know their names, but she hoped. Her wish came true. That Saturday, the sound of engines once again shook the pier, and her heart leapt. The same group rode in, parking their bikes in formation. The leader spotted her instantly and smiled. "Well, look who's back," he said warmly. "You came to ride with us?" Emily laughed nervously, not sure if he was joking. But he wasn't. The bikers had brought something special. A custom-made sidecar, designed with padded seats and straps, so Emily could ride safely with them. "This is for you," the woman biker told her. "Because no one gets left behind." Emily's eyes widened, tears threatening to spill again, but this time they weren't from pain, they were from joy. Carefully, they lifted her into the sidecar, making sure she was comfortable. Then, with a single nod from their leader, the engines roared to life, and the pier shook under the power of dozens of motorcycles. As they rode down the coast, Emily felt something she hadn't in years: freedom. The wind rushed against her face, the ocean stretched beside her, and for once, she wasn't trapped by her chair or her condition. She was flying. People along the way cheered, waved, and took photos, but Emily wasn't thinking about that. She was thinking about how, in the darkest moment of her life, strangers had chosen to be her shield, her protectors, her family. Her story spread. Videos of the bikers surrounding her at Santa Monica Pier went viral, touching millions of hearts across the world. Messages poured in, some from other disabled children who said Emily gave them courage, others from adults who admitted they wished they had spoken up instead of looking away. The bullies never bothered her again, but that wasn't the point anymore. Emily had found her strength, not in her legs, but in her voice, her smile, and the love she carried forward. Years later, she would tell her story on stages, in schools, and on television. But she always began the same way: "There was a day I thought the world had given up on me. Then a sea of bikers showed me I was wrong." And every time she said it, the room fell silent, because people understood, it only takes one act of courage to change someone's entire life. That day on the pier wasn't just about bullying, or cruelty, or even motorcycles. It was about the choice to protect, to stand up, and to remind someone that they matter. And for Emily, that lesson would ride with her forever, as loud and unstoppable as the roar of the bikes that saved her.